Placing a trade. At Guerrilla Trading, we execute trades in one of two ways. Now, the first way we trade is with a market execution. Now, what that is that when you trade and you basically execute the market live. Okay, so for example, you might find a buy position and you enter and you click buy. Or if you find a sell position, you enter and click sell. Now, you will instantly go in the market live. Now, there are other market orders that we have, which are called limit orders. Now, a limit order is an order that you will place prior to entering the market. So before you enter the market, you will have an area that you are looking at that you have a pending order. Now, we use this mainly for the bullet strategy because sometimes we know where the previous most recent low or highs are. So we have that in our mind. We know exactly where we want to place it. So we enter a limit order at that level. Okay, so you'll go onto your broker and you will set a limit order. What that will then do is it will anticipate that you are going to get into the market at a certain level. Now, you don't have to be by the screen or by your phone or anywhere you wish to be. And basically that pending order or limit order will, as soon as that breaches that level, you will be entered into the market and you won't need to physically put that order on yourself because it's already set prior. Okay, now also, how do we calculate your 1%? You can go and calculate it from a calculator that is on MyFX books. It's a very accurate way that will confirm your lot size for each currency pair, as they are not always the same. Please note that we do not trade between spread hours, which are between 9 and 11. Trade journal. Journaling is very, very important as a Forex trader because what you are doing is you are self-reviewing yourself and your trading journey. And this will help you to become and remain profitable as a trader. Now, you might ask yourself, why do I need to journal? Well, when you are journaling, what you're doing is you're actually identifying and learning from your mistakes that you are making as a trader. Because a lot of the time, if you don't write down your trades and you don't see your trades, it's very hard for you to identify areas that you can improve because actually you're just trading and you're not reviewing. Now, because you review your trades through journaling, this will help you to implement 1% improvement all the time because you will start seeing certain patterns. Like I said earlier, there will be certain patterns with certain currency pairs. There will be certain price action with other currency pairs. So you will integrate this into your trade journal. And what this will do is this will allow you to then trade each pair individually. And it will really help you refine what you're looking for on each pair. Now, at Guerrilla Trading, we offer a simple template, which is in Excel, which will really help you to simplify your journaling. We highly recommend that you keep your journaling simple because I know too well that there are a lot of people out there that like to write essay after essay for their journaling. But actually, you'll tend to find that the shorter and the sweeter is the better. So what do I mean by that? The short and sweet. So basically writing comments that are a lot shorter but are notes are a lot better than writing essays because you're generally not going to learn much from all of that documentation. Okay? We highly recommend that you document every single trade, even if it's a losing trade, because what people don't realize is that they don't realize that you learn more from your losses than you do from your winners. Okay, we also ask you to do a weekly review. Okay, so review all of your trades weekly. The reason that we ask you to do this is that you then know that week the emotions you went through in that trade. So for example, if you've done a review at the end of the month, you won't remember the sort of psychological brain or the psychological impact that that trade had on your mind. But you're able to remember that when you do it within a week. So we highly recommend you do that weekly. We also want you to identify how you can improve. Okay, now this is a very one that takes up a lot of time, and this is one thing that we say to everybody, is that when you identify that you are improving, you then have to go back and back test that to make sure that it is an improvement. Because you might think it's an improvement on one trade, but actually on a large sample size, it might not be that much of an improvement. What is price action? What is it and how do we read it? Well, we use Japanese candlesticks to read the candles on our charts. We identify moves in the market, whether it's determining whether price is going to go up or it's going to go down. We learn price action because price action is the language of the market. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at price action goes up or it goes down. Now, each currency pair has their own language of price action. So each currency pair will have different characteristics of the way that you trade it. Now, I like to refer price action as like a language, like a foreign language you might get. Now, when you're learning price action, the same as any normal language. So say you're learning in a foreign language and you start to learn. Maybe after a few weeks you can hold a few sentences, right? After a few months, you start to understand it a bit better and you start to be able to speak it a bit better. Then maybe after a year or maybe more, you actually fluently understand it. So you can actually speak to someone and they can speak to you back and you can understand it very clearly. Now, price action is very much the same. The more and more you practice through backtesting and through going through the live market with experience, the more better you're going to get at learning price action. Now, this is why at Guerrilla, we really hammer home on everyone that they have to backtest. Because the more and more you're backtesting, the more better you're getting at learning to read price action. The same as if you learn a language. The more and more you practice learning that language, the faster and better you're going to get at it. Okay? Because backtesting is like experience. It's like teaching yourself to trade live, but you're speeding it up. Because you are using bar replay, you can click an hour in maybe a couple of seconds. So it speeds up that development of learning that language. Now remember, like I said earlier, every single currency pair has their own characteristics and has their own language. So we like to focus on one pair. Focus on one pair and really get to understand the language of that pair. Okay? We don't use indicators. Now, if you know this or you don't know this, but indicators are all based on price action. They're all based on price. So why would you want to learn an indicator when you can actually learn the real language of the market, which is price action? Another key thing that we do with price action is we only use one time frame, which is the hourly time frame. Now you might ask, why is that? Well, if you want to learn a language, you want to learn one language and you want to master that one language. Now, if you can master one time frame, why would you need to change to other time frames? All that's going to do is hinder you, because you're going to get sometimes on a daily chart, it might say up. On a 4-hour chart, it might say down. On an hourly chart, it might say up. And then all it's going to do is cause you confusion. So what we do at Guerrilla, we teach you how to master one time frame, which is the hourly time frame. And within that 1 hour time frame, you can learn exactly how to read price action, exactly what to look for when the market's going up, exactly what to look for when the market's going down. And this is all going to be within the Guerrilla community when you go through our education. We will teach you all of this. Because again, you want to master one time frame. And once you master that, you'll be able to read the market a lot clearer and a lot easier. Routine. Why is routine so important? Well, as Forex traders, you tend to find that you get a lot of time to yourself. Okay, so it's very, very important that as a Forex trader that you actually have a routine, because generally what will happen is you get so much time on your hands that if you don't have a routine, generally stuff will come and you will miss things. Okay, so what we like to do at Guerrilla, we like to have a great foundation, and we always do it the same way. So what we do is we always forecast over the weekend. So the weekend's a very long period, and what we like to do is we like to do all our forecasts at the weekend. And then what we do is we will review our forecasts twice a day. Okay, one in the morning and one in the evenings. The reason we like to do this is obviously the market is always moving, so the forecast can change. For example, we take out the most recent high, we take out the most recent low, or we have a trend change. All of these things can happen within a day. So what we want to do is we want to forecasts and make sure that all of our forecasts are ready.